on the MAGA makeover coming to Washington, the Director of National Intelligence, that is a very important job. They prepare the president's daily brief, the readout of every clandestine and concerning development happening across the globe. They oversee the 18 spy agencies working to keep you safe. And Donald Trump wants to give the job to Tulsi Gabbard. If you're not familiar, Gabbard is a former Army reservist. She's also a Fox News talking head who, believe it or not, once ran for president, very recently, mind you, as a Democrat. And tonight, on Fox, Gabbard dismissed the concerns gripping the national security community about her getting this gig as the swamp perhaps fights back.
Of course, there's going to be resistance to change from the swamp in Washington. I think that's kind of the point. The American people are saying, hey, stop looking at yourself, stop focusing on your own power, your own position, your own bank accounts. How about we have leaders in Washington who are actually looking out for the American people?
Ashley Allison is here with us at the table now. Also joining us in our fifth seat is Jamie Metzel. He is a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council and was previously on the National Security Council staff in the Clinton administration. Jamie, putting aside all the politics around Tulsi Gabbard, whatever happened to qualifications for a job that is actually a very technically important job?
Obviously, qualifications are important. Obviously, this is a critically important job for the United States, for keeping us safe. This job, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, was created after 9/11 because we realized we were not safe because we didn't have serious people doing a serious job of integrating all of the data and information that was coming in through our intelligence agencies. For sure, we've had an election. The election has an outcome. John Ratcliffe, who was the former Director of National Intelligence, did a great job, a very serious person. He's likely now moving to CIA. Tulsi Gabbard has never worked in intelligence. She has no real background for this job, and she has been a booster in many ways for Putin, Assad, Erdogan, people who are not at all friendly with the United States. And if you are part of a foreign government, even an allied government, are you really going to want to share your most important intelligence with the United States government, recognizing that there are people who are at central nodes in our government who are so sympathetic to our adversaries? It's really concerning. And this is not, I mean, I guess the good news is this isn't the worst of the Trump nominations, but this is pretty bad. These are serious jobs, and they need serious people doing them. We have very, very many very serious people in the Republican Party. Those are the people we need.
I don't understand how, well, let me take that back. I do understand if your number one concern is having someone who doubles down on what you already believe is wrong with the intelligence community. Tulsi Gabbard might be a perfect choice. But if you have been president, as Trump has, and you understand the seriousness of what comes through on that presidential daily brief, this is a confounding decision.
It's a very confounding. I mean, look, call me crazy, but I think the Director of National Intelligence should be a person who, A, trusts U.S. intelligence, and B, likes U.S. intelligence. What do we know about Tulsi Gabbard? We know that when Assad gassed civilians in 2017 and our intelligence agencies determined that, and Trump decided to strike those facilities, Gabbard doubted that. She doubted the findings of our own intelligence facilities.
She also went to go visit.
Yeah, and she went to go visit Assad. And we know that she defends Julian Assange, who released classified information that imperiled the people we were working with in Afghanistan, and the Taliban went out there and were able to kill them one by one. And so, this is exactly the opposite of the person you would want leading national intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first day I started working at the White House, nowhere near this type of level of appointment, and it's not a place you want to learn on the job. You want to be qualified, especially at this level. But I guess, elections have consequences, and I am not feeling great about this nomination. But this is why so many of us sat at this very table for so long and screamed to pay attention with who Donald Trump is surrounding themselves with. And we were told that we were being hyperbolic, that we were being exaggerating. But now we have someone, to Coleman's point, and Coleman and I rarely agree on policy issues. He is making my point that I made before November 5th. This is what happens when we were not doing this for Democrats to win. We were doing this for America to win, and now I think America's national security could be at threat.
I think the key to her success moving forward, whether it's in this position or any position in the future within the party, is her being able to coherently explain to Republicans, about her shift. I heard her speak recently since she made a huge shift to become a Republican and talk about a lot of these issues. And I thought she seemed very intelligent. She seemed very competent. And so I think it's about convincing people that she legitimately has a different worldview today than she did in 2017. Because I think there are Republicans out there that are still skeptical because of some of the things she said following the killing of Soleimani or other issues.
Point here that again, like, put the politics to the side for just a moment. I don't really care what Tulsi Gabbard thinks about, public policy around even national security issues. The question is, can she look at the information coming from the intelligence community and assess what needs to get to the president? That is a analytical job that she seems to be willing to fall for what Julian Assange or Assange is saying and what Assad is saying and what Putin is saying. That seems on its face kind of problematic.
You're absolutely right. I don't think the American public cares if there's an R by your name, a D by your name. They just want somebody who's going to do a job, particularly in a job like this. Because you're literally talking about American lives at stake with this particular job. And the reports that get done, not everything can make it to the president's desk. And you're absolutely right. Everything goes through somebody. And we have to trust that person. Now, military service, okay. Member of Congress, okay. It's the things that were mentioned earlier that are extremely problematic. Those are judgment and actions that you can look back and say, this isn't necessarily the person that we would trust with this job. Now, I must say, though, Donald Trump's railing against affirmative action. Maybe this is his affirmative action.
But I think that her worldview her worldview changes the lens in which she sees things. So I do think it's important what she believes because that will impact what goes to the president's desk.
I just think that a swing from, we just went through this election and we were questioning the candidate who changed positions from 2019 to now, and that was disqualifying.
But she wasn't able to explain herself, and I think that's what most people say. I'm saying the same thing you are, Ashley, in that she has to be able to explain this in a way in which people understand and believe.
But the shift isn't from being a Democrat to being a Republican. Lots of people shift parties.
That's right.
The shift is being from a patriotic American to an American who's supporting Putin, Assad, Erdogan, and our adversaries. These are judgment jobs. There's going to be a small number of people who are going to be advising the president in critically important times. If she has shown such terrible judgment, if she sided with Putin days after the invasion of Ukraine, if she's saying all of these kinds of crazy things, Senator Romney said that she was spreading treasonous lies about U.S. activities, U.S. alleged bioweapons factories in Ukraine. If these are the kind of people who are surrounding President Trump, we are really in trouble. And the question now is, will the Senate do its job? Because if President Trump is able to force through all of these nominations, some of whom are really great, impressive people. I mentioned John Radcliffe, Marco Rubio is I think, a very solid choice. But if Gates, if Tulsi Gabbard, if some of these other people are just forced through, the message will be delivered that this is a Republican Party that is just kneeling before Zod. Well, it's a Superman reference. And if that's the case, then really all bets are off.
Well, look, all roads lead to Donald Trump. We were just talking about Matt Gaetz. We're talking about Tulsi Gabbard. The common denominator between the two of them, the things that they believe, Donald Trump believes. The person who's the most skeptical of the IC, that is Donald Trump. So in a way, it makes a lot of sense that he would go here for these picks. Jamie Metzel, thank you very much for joining us on that one. Everyone else, hang tight. Senior military leaders, they are reacting now to Trump's pick